It's time to say goodbye to hold music and say hello to fast customer support with Service Cloud. With trusted AI and data working together, you can skip long wait times and deliver efficient, personalized service right away, all while keeping support costs low and more customers happy. Reimagine your customer support with the #1 AI CRM for service. Learn what's possible at salesforce.com/products/service.
TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
This episode is brought to you by JLL. Get an insider view into the world of commercial real estate with JLL's podcast, Trends and Insights, the Future of Commercial Real Estate. Whether you're curious about making cities more sustainable, the evolution of office space, or AI opportunities, this podcast will help keep you a step ahead. Tune in for candid conversations with business leaders about the biggest trends impacting how we live, work, and play. Subscribe to Trends and Insights now at jll.com/podcast.
Welcome to the Age of Jeremy. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to this podcast. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Age of Jeremy. I am the leader when it comes to advice with business content creation, software, taxes, investment, education, and all the hobbies that I enjoy. Also, follow our podcast network, The Age of Radioverse, on Instagram at Age of Radioverse. Over 100 podcasts strong and growing. It's part of my media company that I own with Coach JV called Age of Radio. You can also check me out on TikTok at Age of Jeremy and Twitter at Age of Jeremy Q. If you want to be on this podcast and chat, email me at jeremy.quintanilla@ageofradio.org. There will be a link to that email in the episode description. We are looking for small business owners, influencers, and creators to share their stories, no matter how small, no matter how big. We just love a good story. Make sure to get your ticket to the 2022 Freedom Conference. They are on sale now. It's going to be April 22nd and April 23rd. And if you can't be here in person, you can definitely get our virtual seat. We will be streaming it live as well. It is a wealth building conference. Coach JV will be talking about mindset. Porter Shumway will be talking about insurance and how to grow your wealth with insurance vehicles. Crypto influencer Bearable Bull will be live streamed in and talking about cryptocurrencies and how he creates passive income. Jordan Harry will be speaking about speed learning, I believe, and how to protect your assets. We will also have our technical analysis team and crypto research team there hosting panels. So if you want to meet Joyful Jackie or Mario the Node Defender or Johnny Crypto or the amazing Abs or Abdullah, which we call him Abs because it's difficult for me to say Abdullah, he will be there as well. So you should definitely get your ticket. And like I said, if you can't join in person, please buy a virtual ticket. Don't miss out on this opportunity to learn about generational wealth. And there will be a link in the podcast episode description. All right, let's get this show on the road. My name is Jeremy Quintanilla. You are listening to Age of Jeremy. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm the co-founder of Age of Radio and 3T Fitness, and, well, other businesses that I am working on. This podcast is about everything that I learn and the trials and tribulations it took to learn them. I hope you enjoy. All right, so today I want to talk about planning because it is something that I'm really trying to strategically do better because I have so much stuff going on and I get pulled in lots of different directions, lots of different times, which is a very good thing and something that I'm blessed for because I don't want to say unreplaceable or irreplaceable because no one's really irreplaceable, but I do have a strong skill set, and that's why it never bothers me about worrying about having to have money because no matter what happens, I'll be able to go somewhere and make money no matter what. And that's one of the reasons why I think that getting a good education in some type of a technical skill set, such as mine, is portfolio analysis or accounting, which is something that I have a strong passion for, and I'm starting to realize that I really do enjoy the accounting piece of it and the tax piece of it. And that's something that I really want to bring to the world further. And so that's something that I'm really trying to do to become an enrolled agent. But with all these things that are going on, and just to that point, trying to become an enrolled agent, where am I going to build in that time? So I thought that because I've been really re-strategizing how I'm blocking out time in my calendar, I would talk a little bit about the things that I do that benefit me. I think that they would benefit you, but there are some caveats to the way that I do things, which can be very, very stressful. But if we look at all the things that are going on in the day, I have the Phoenix crypto assets, which we'll be talking more about. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to investpca.com. We are actually have a secret project that's going to launch at the crypto conference that will be taking up more of my time to get that marketing out and getting that business growing. I have started a digital asset company that owns my portions of a company called Collecti. You can check that out at collectilabs.com, and it also owns my portion of Phoenix crypto assets, and we'll be investing in some other digital assets, and also in I guess the e-learning space is where I really want to take that. And then again, I really want to refocus a lot of my time to Age of Radio and the Age of Jeremy brand. One of my goals moving forward is making sure that with the Age of Jeremy brand, I'm trying to replace I want to pay all of my bills with money that I get from the Age of Jeremy brand. So trying to create that Age of Jeremy brand. It's not a lot of bills. I don't have a lot of bills. I have a little bit of credit card debt, and that's about it. I don't like having bills. That's why I don't buy a lot of stuff. And I just try to either save for it and buy it, or try to build another business that can give me the money to buy the stuff that I want, or work or offer my services to people to get money to get the stuff that I want. For instance, why I help Coach JV with Freedom Asset Management, because that's another source of income stream that I can build into what I'm already doing and help also grow his brand as well. So that's a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to accomplish, and it's going pretty well. But it gives me it adds a lot to my plate, and that's one of the things that I've been really trying to focus on. And so I know this is going to sound old, and I'm not always a big fan of motivational books. In fact, that's the reason why I like John's book, because it's just simple. It's a workbook. You can go through it. There's nothing magnificent about it. That's why what drew me to the You Must Believe Way of Life book was because of its simplicity. And I don't mean that in a negative context. I mean that in a really positive context. It's really simple. It's a workbook. You do these things, and these things become the outcome. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a super big fan of motivational books in general, is because a lot of them just do a bunch of talking about what that individual got or what that individual has. And there's nothing concrete that walks through it. But one of my favorite books, two of my favorite books are by Stephen Covey, or Covey. I think it's Covey is how you pronounce it. He's passed away, but he had a really big business consulting business, and they had the Franklin Covey planners, which are still popular to this day. And I think his family still runs that business. And so my first thing that I think that you need to get is some type of physical planner. I know that sounds weird in today's digital age, but there are so many things that you can do in here that's a lot easier to take notes in a physical planner, and how to plan out and see things in one place. It's on a tabletop that you can go, you can show it, other people can see it. You don't have to use your phone. And I think it's a really big added asset. People make fun of me all the time. The one that I have, I think the binder was $100, and then it's like $50 a year to buy the inside stuff, the actual planner stuff with the months, and then it has goal setting. And the one that I buy is from Franklin Covey. And you can get it online at franklincovey.com, I believe it is, or franklinplanners.com or something along those lines. But the one that I use, it's the 7 Habits of Effective People. And that's the reason why I was talking about the motivational book. It's one of my favorite motivational books. And then there's also First Things First, which I'll talk about in a second. But in this planner, it has like goal setting. It has future planning. You can build out projects in it. You can manage your finances. You can keep key information in it. And I think that having that right is just easier, because we have so much shit that's on our phone. It gets saved in different places. There's clouds. I have like 5 different clouds that stuff gets saved to. And for me, it just works better having this. And if you can get all of the note taking and everything in your phone, congrats to you. It's just not something that I'm good at. And it also has like notes if I'm sitting in a meeting. Now that we have a lot more meetings, I have my notes in the back, and then I can put those inside of the booklet. And then I can reference where those notes are when I need to reference them, or I can go and type out notes on the computer to reference later. And then at the end of the year, I have a binder that I put it all in, because then it can chronologicalize all the stuff that you did in your life. And if there's anybody that's going to write an autobiography about you, or not an autobiography, a biography about you, I guess I should say, then that would help them see the day-to-day stuff. So it's always good to have those notes. So that's one of the reasons. So that's the reason why I have it. For me, it's easier. But the reason why I use the 7 habits of effective people is because inside of it, it's got these little, like, it's called a weekly compass. And so that weekly compass, at the beginning of the week, I put down all these different roles. So one of the things that you want to think about in your life is the roles that you have. Okay. So like for Age of Radio, I'm the CEO of Age of Radio. For 3T Fitness, I'm the chief operating officer and, the chief financial officer. So I know that I need to get my books done during the week, through the month, make sure I'm getting financial reporting. I need to do a better job with physically making budgets that I can give out to all the different teams and getting that a lot better organized, because that's one of the things that we need to get better. But so at the beginning of the week, right? So like, for instance, I know Age of Radio, for instance, my weekly compass is right here in my hand. It says for Age of Radio, I need to complete landing pages for the shows. I need to pay the host out this week. I need to set up the Discord server, and I need to set up Q2 meetings for all of the team members. And so I know that those are the most important things that I need to do out the week. So no matter what happens during the week, I need to make sure that when I'm blocking out time in my calendar or for my week, that I'm doing those things, right? So like also with the Phoenix Crypto Assets, I need to make sure that I get those taxes done for Phoenix Crypto Assets so we can get the K1s to all the owners, and then they can go and take them to their physical, their tax people. And so to have that in front of me all day in my planner really helps me stay organized and makes me really focus on it. The other thing that's great about, and this thing, it's just like a little slip. I wish you could see it. Maybe I'll do a YouTube video and show it because it's really helpful. And then I also have another one that I have like a dump list on of things that are a growing list of things that are the most important things. So then I can go to that list when I'm making my weekly meeting or my weekly agenda, and I can pull from that and then focus on those things through the week. So that's one of the biggest things is having this. And the reason why we have the different role things is so that we can make sure that we're clarifying all the things that we need to do in our life. So as I mentioned before, I'm the CEO of Age of Radio. I'm also the CFO and COO of 3T Fitness for the most part. I also am the CFO for Phoenix Crypto Assets. I'm also the husband to my wife, Danielle. I'm also the uncle to my niece, Ariana. I'm also the son to my mother. I'm also the grandson to my grandparents and so forth. So when you're thinking about your roles, you focus on those things so that you can plan those things throughout the week, which brings me to the second thing that you should do is you should make sure that you're focusing on the roles that you want to focus on. And that's one of the hardest things, right? So if you're not doing the things that you know that you should be doing in those roles, then you're not doing the things that you should be doing that's going to make you have a fulfilled life. And that's why I think that this is one of the most important ways to manage this. So first step, right? The first thing that I would recommend is get yourself a planner. Make sure that you're utilizing that in tandem with, your Outlook calendar, your Google calendar, or whatever, your Apple iCalendar. And it really helps you plan out your week. Okay. The second thing is make sure that you have your roles organized of what you want to focus on. So like, not only do I want to focus on being a good husband, I want to focus on being a good son, but I also want to focus on my martial art, being a martial artist, I guess. So that would be a role that's in my life that I want to focus on, so that when I'm planning out my week, I want to put things that make me better at that so that I can make sure that I'm making the time for that. Okay. So then I would recommend that. And then I would recommend making sure that you get the most important roles going so that you're planning them. So then the next thing that you want to do is you want to also plan in things that they call sharpen the saw. And this is a very common practice that comes from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And what it does is it makes sure that you have your physical outlet throughout the week, a social, emotional outlet throughout the week, your mental state throughout the week, and then a spiritual state throughout the week. So if we look at the physical, you want to make sure that you're working out, right? So for me, every day on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 3:30 to 5, I have time blocked out to go and work out at the gym, focus on my weights, so forth. And then I try to do some bow staff training throughout the week or on the weekends. That's kind of falling to the wayside because my workout regimen is pretty rough. So that's been making me tired and I haven't been practicing the bow. So there's an imbalance there that I have to kind of figure out. Okay. And then the social emotional is making sure that you're spending time with people. Now, Now that can be different for a lot of people. Some people, they are introverts and they get their energy from being alone. They don't want to be with people, but some people do just have friends that they want to hang out with. So you want to make sure that you're having that time for that emotional social gathering to make sure that you're, feeding that part of your spirit. And then you want to have, so for me, just as an example, mine is always trying to make sure that I have time for gaming. And by gaming, I don't mean like video games, even though I do enjoy video games. I'm talking about like tabletop games, maybe Roll20 online, getting together with friends virtually and playing some Dungeons and Dragons, or, on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, my mother came over to watch Moon Knight, which I recommend that you watch. And then we played some Gin Rummy, which satisfied that, or Gin Rummy, I don't know, Gin Rummy, or Rummy, that satisfied that emotional social need, even though it was my mother, but it still satisfied that. And I felt more fulfilled after I had done it. And then you want to look at your mental state. Mental is like learning something new. So as an entrepreneur, if you were an entrepreneur, you're probably hopefully always learning something new. But if you're not, look at something that might help your business or something that you want to learn that's, fun. So for instance, we're going to Connecticut in July. We're also going to Alaska in May, I believe it is. And so I bought some books to work on my bird watching. That's something that I'm a fan of. I love animals. I love birds, especially because they're the evolution of dinosaurs, supposedly. And so that's exciting for me because who doesn't like dinosaurs? And I guess some people don't like dinosaurs. So that's like a learning thing that doesn't specify with my entrepreneurial endeavors, right? It's something that I want to do because it's something that I enjoy. And it's just for me. And it satisfies that mental capacity, learning about the birds, trying to find if I can find them, pictures, the ones that are outside of my house, because I have a bird feeder that I'm just trying to get back going. There was a lot of poop before, so I kind of moved that away, and now I miss the birds. And so we're bringing that back, and then there's going to be a lot of poop. And then you're spiritual, right? So that's one thing that is very lacking in my life, is the spiritual part. There's not a lot of esoteric Buddhism churches in my neighborhood. There is a Nembutsu church, which I enjoy going to. So I'll probably try to start going back to that, but it is on Sundays and I have to go to the gym, and then like Sundays is already done. So maybe if I can't go to that, maybe read some more sutras, study a little bit more, look into some occult books, meditate more, things like that. So those are the things that I try to plan, and you want to plan those things inside of your planner at the beginning before you add in all the other stuff. And that's a concept of putting in the big things first, right? Those are the biggest things that I'm trying to focus on in my, those are the important things that are what I find important, right? So I want to make sure that when I'm scheduling my week out, that's why it's so important to schedule a week out, that you put those things in first, because those are the biggest rocks. And then you start putting in all the little things that maybe, I don't want to say are less important, but not as important as those big blocks. Okay, so you get yourself a planner, nice planner, you organize your roles, and then you start planning by putting in the things that are the most important, which is your physical well-being, your social emotional well-being, your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being, and then you start adding in the things that go along with those roles. And so I have a lot of roles. I don't think people are going to have as many roles as I have, but you probably have like 4 or 5 of them. So I wouldn't focus on too many past 5. I would just focus on maybe 3 or 4 of them at first to get good at adding this in, because this brings me to the first caveat. When you start doing this, it looks like you won't have time for anything. And that's the trick, right? So the trick is that if you don't have time for anything, then that means there's something that's important that's not inside of your plan, right? So when I think to myself, I really like playing video games. I don't have that. I never have time to play video games. Well, I don't have time to play video games because I'm not putting it in my plan and sticking to my plan. And so it can be very stressful when you look at your calendar at the beginning of the week and you have like every hour planned out, because what you want to do is you want to start blocking out those hours in chunks in your actual physical calendar and then on your Outlook calendar. So what I mean by that is that as you get going, for instance, like I said, I have 3:30 to 5 blocked out to work out. And then maybe in the evening, I have 7 to 8 to spend time with my wife. And then on Sundays, I have 3 in the afternoon to 5 in the afternoon to spend time with my mother. And then on, say, Fridays from like 6:30 to 7:30, I have bow practice, right? So when you start adding all that in and you want to get the most fulfilled life, you start looking at there's no extra free time. And so then that means that their free time needs to be built into your schedule. That from like 2 to 4, I'm just going to fuck around on, Thursday evening, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to chill. I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to rest and I'm going to relax and I'm just going to recuperate and just be me and do whatever I want during that time. And then once that time's over, then you go back to doing the thing that's on that time. And this, I believe, is the thing that makes the people most successful. So when you hear about like Elon Musk, who has like 5-minute increments, and Bill Gates, who has 5-minute increments in their calendar, I have 5-minute increments in my calendar because I can schedule things for 15 minutes. So sometimes I think a meeting doesn't need to be an hour. It needs to be 45 minutes. Well, what happens when you don't have that scheduled in on your Outlook calendar or in your planner is that those 15 minutes add up. So if you schedule something for an hour that could have been done in 45 minutes, if you do 4 of those, then you have another hour, right? And you wasted another hour. And so this is all about creating efficiencies. And when you have so much going on, you have to get better at creating these efficiencies and think of things like managing those bits of time. And that's one of the things that makes it very, very hard. It makes it very, very difficult. So if you think about this whole thing at the beginning, you have a planning system, right? You have roles that you're going to focus on. You have roles that you're going to focus on. Then you find the things that are going to be the physical, social, mental, and spiritual focuses that you want for that week for you. And then you take 4 or 5 roles that you built out from those roles. And then you build in maybe 1 or 2 things that you know you have to get done that week in those roles. And you schedule time to do those things in your calendar. And that is what's going to make you super, super successful. And again, I give you warning, it's very difficult to do, but I recommend that you go and buy Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and Stephen Covey's book, First Things First. Those are probably, in my opinion, the only 2 motivational books you need, unless you need actual information or knowledge on like investing or a certain piece of, like real estate or something along those lines. But as far as overall management of your life, I really think that those are the only books you need, and you don't need to waste your books on, time with anything else. That's my personal opinion, because 7 Habits of Highly Effective People show you the things that make people having effective life. And First Things First is like literally a 200-page book or something like that that's just on managing your time. So that does it for the episode today. I really appreciate you spending time with me. Again, I have been so busy that not setting time to write out these episodes and getting, people on the show to talk to. And that's why this was really pressing on my heart and why I wanted to share with you me trying to get this reorganized. So that being said, I appreciate you for spending some time with me. We will be, I'm going to continue to try to get other people in for interviews. So if you want to be on the show, again, my email's in the episode description. Just hit me up. Don't worry, it's free. I want to do interviews with lots of people. I like having conversations with people. I think they're more fun when I do those on here. And then also make sure that you get your 2022 Freedom Conference virtual ticket. The episode, the link to the conference to purchase is in the episode description. And like always, be thankful, grateful, and kind. We will see you next time. Thank you for listening to The Age of Jeremy. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcatcher. If you can do me a favor, please rate this podcast if your podcatcher allows you to. Talk to you soon.
Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.